There was this guy at the office who lived for spreading rumors about female co-workers. When one woman wore a bodycon dress, he'd joke she was definitely into kinky stuff after hours. When another got promoted with a raise, he'd claim she slept her way to the top with the boss. When he saw me leaving work in a Bentley, jealousy ate him alive. He started telling people I had 3 sugar daddies. He even followed me and cut me off in traffic. Driving so fast, you got a sugar daddy waiting. I just snarled back, you're wasting my time and you'll regret this. Turns out I was speeding, because there was a pregnant woman in labor in my back seat. And that woman, his wife. On the way to the hospital, some guy in a Volkswagen cut me off 3 times on purpose. I was in a rush, so I let it go. But my patience only egged him on. Bang! He forced me to a complete stop. When I rolled down my window and got a good look at his face, I realized it was Dylan Pierce, that guy from work who loved labeling everyone. He had a cigarette hanging from his mouth as he swaggered out of his car, looking all smug and mocking. Driving so fast you got a sugar daddy to service a luxury car. Getting cut off downtown quickly drew a crowd. This is wild. Some dude in a beat-up VW picking a fight with a Bentley. He must have a death wish. I'd had enough. I pushed open my door and stepped out. Dylan, there's an emergency. Move out of my way before you regret it. But he didn't care. He glanced at the Bentley logo and sneered. Emergency. He raised his voice, making sure everyone around could hear. Your emergency is meeting your sugar daddy, right? Can't wait to service your client. Hope you can keep up with his demands. Makes sense. How else would a regular employee afford a Bentley? Unless she's selling herself. His words lit up the crowd. The crowd's admiring looks at the luxury car turned to daggers aimed at me. I let out a bitter laugh. But rich families don't have daughters. But right then, the pregnant woman in the back seat, Pearl Anderson, was clutching her heavily pregnant belly, face ashen with pain. If I didn't get her to the hospital soon, someone could die seeing me stay quiet. Dylan got bolder. He stepped closer, spittle flying as he talked. Cat got your tongue. Feeling guilty? Hey, princess. Why not share your secrets for landing a Bentley? I'm sure everyone here would love to know. The crowd snickered and nodded along. Their judgmental stares burned into me. I felt suffocated. I clenched my fists, jaw tight enough to crack. Whether my money is clean or not is none of your business. Your wife is in the car. She is in labor. If something happens because of your games. You'll regret it forever. Dylan laughed. Like I told the funniest joke ever. Please, my wife's due date isn't for weeks. You think I'll fall for that? Then a twisted idea crossed his face. Fine. If you spend it, publicly admit you're a prostitute. I'll move. He turned to the crowd again. Listen up. This woman's nothing but a gold-digging whore. Remember her face. If you're dating, steer clear. She'll drain your bank account. The crowd erupted in laughter. People pulled out phones to record me. I trembled with rage, chest heaving. Dylan, you say I'm selling myself. Do you got any proof? If not, that's slander. I'll call the cops right now and sue you for defamation. He froze for a second, then lost it completely. Iris, don't push me. I'm doing you a favor, trying to help you see sense. If you escalate this, you'll be the one humiliated. I stayed calm, face steady. I've got nothing to hide. Why would I be ashamed? But you are spreading lies about me. I'll make sure you pay for this. Dylan's face turned purple with rage. Fine, if you want to humiliate yourself. Be my guest. He fumbled for his phone, held it up high, and yelled, everyone, look. Here's the proof. The crowd leaned in. People nearby craned their necks, then gasped, there it is. Let's see her explain this. On his screen was a video of a woman linking arms with some middle-aged guy. Walking into a fancy hotel. And the woman's build and hair looked exactly like mine. According to this video, Dylan was telling the truth. I was the liar. Dylan smugly put his phone away and smirked at me. Admit you're an escort, get on your knees and apologize. And I'll let you go. Deal. My mind raced looking for holes in his story. He thought a deep fake video would take me down. He really underestimated me. He had no idea I was set to inherit a company. But I didn't call him out right away. Instead, I put on a devastated expression. Eyes watering as I grabbed Dylan's hand. I was wrong earlier. Thank you. Everyone, including Dylan, looked shocked. Thank me. For what? I kept going. Thank you for showing me I was violated without even knowing it. Please send me that video. I need to report that creep immediately. He froze, yanking his hand back and scowling. Iris. What are you talking about? You obviously did this willingly. Stop playing the victim. I ignored him and started sobbing in front of everyone. My cries were loud and desperate. If no one believes me, I'll end my life. To prove I'm innocent. I made a dramatic move like I was going to hurt myself. The crowd clearly moved, rushed to stop me. Then I wiped my tears and spoke firmly. I'm calling the cops and the media. Dylan's face went white. Are you crazy? You can't go public with this. Do you want everyone to know? You'll embarrass the whole company. I stared him down. Why shouldn't I call the police? I just want the police to get me justice. Is that so wrong? Dylan's face turned purple. He kicked his car in rage. Iris, I'm warning you. You're not calling the cops today. As a company employee, I won't let you ruin our reputation. I let out a bitter laugh. Now he suddenly cares about company reputation. I had no intention of actually calling the police. I just needed to scare him. After all, the pregnant woman in the car couldn't wait much longer. I needed to wrap this up fast. Ignoring Dylan's yelling, I pulled out my phone and made a call. Mr. Harrison, I need you to come down. I have a video that needs authentication. Within 10 minutes, a black sedan pulled up. Middle-aged man in a suit carrying professional equipment got out. This was Mr. Harrison, one of the top AI. Forensics experts in the field. After hearing the situation, he connected his equipment to Dylan's phone. Within minutes, he had his answer. This video was created using AI. Face swapping and motion synthesis technology. The crowd exploded. This time their anger was directed at Dylan. He faked the video to slander her. What a scumbag. That's messed up. I knew something was fishy. No way a nice girl would do that. He totally set her up. He must be jealous. She drives a Bentley, so he tried to ruin her reputation. What a creep. Dylan turned white as a sheet, stammered. Unable to get words out. I walked up to him. Voice dripping with disdain. So I wasn't drugged after all. Just slandered with a deep fake video. Dylan, you really can't stand seeing others succeed. You can't get promoted. So you assume every successful woman slept her way up. See someone with a nice car and you turn green with envy. Your small-mindedness is sad and laughable. The crowd started pointing and whispering about Dylan. Dylan's eyes turned dark with hatred as he glared at me. Iris, you just wait. Remembering the pregnant woman in the car. I didn't waste another second. Dylan, your Volkswagen can't outrun my Bentley. Can it? If you want your wife to be okay, move out of my way. He scoffed. Someone like you doesn't deserve to say my wife's name. I ignored him and got back in the car. The engine roared to life as I started it. In the rearview mirror I saw Dylan frozen. Eyes blazing with anger. My heart skipped a beat. I worried he might do something desperate. I was about to tell Pearl to hold on. But before I could speak, I heard screeching brakes and a crash behind me. Bang! A massive jolt hit the back of the car, sending it lurching forward. My forehead nearly hit the steering wheel from the back seat. Pearl cried out, clutching her stomach tighter. I looked back. Dylan's car was smashed into my Bentley's rear bumper. His bumper was totaled. He was slumped over his steering wheel. Eyes bloodshot, glaring at me like a rabid animal. Iris, how dare you show off your fancy car? How dare you flaunt your money? I'll teach you a lesson for crossing me. Another crash. He rammed me again. The car shot forward half a meter. My forehead slammed into the steering wheel. Everything went black. In the back seat came Pearl's scream of agony. "Aw. My belly. My baby. It hurts so bad." Ignoring my throbbing head, I spun around. Pearl was curled up in the back seat. White dress was soaked in blood. The baby. My baby. Please be okay. Cold sweat broke out across my forehead. I fumbled for my phone to call 911. Then someone started kicking my car door. Dylan stormed out of his car, face contorted with rage. "Iris. You can't even drive. Typical woman driver. You caused this crash. You're paying for my car. Or I'll make sure you get fired." I laughed in disbelief. "Dylan. You've got some nerve twisting this around." He kept ranting, demanding I get out of the car. But the situation was critical. I just needed the ambulance to hurry. Pearl's breathing was getting weaker. The blood stain on the seat kept spreading. Looking at Dylan's smug face, I ground my teeth. "Dylan. Shut up. Someone in this car is dying." "Dying? What's that to me?" Dylan sneered and kicked the door again. "Quit making excuses. You're just avoiding the bill. You drive a Bentley and act so high and mighty. Pay up or you'll be sorry." He kept rambling, viewing the same insults. I bit my lip and tried one last time, as calmly as possible. "Dylan. The person in this car is your wife. She's in critical condition because of you. Dylan, you bastard. You'll regret this." That made him even angrier. "You bitch. How dare you drag my wife into this? Want to die? Fine. I'll grant your wish." He grabbed the door handle, trying to yank it open. But the second he saw who was in the back seat, his face went ghostly white. He froze like he'd been struck by lightning, lips trembling. The silence that descended on the street was heavier than the twisted metal of our bumpers. Dylan's hand hovered over the door handle, his knuckles white, his face stripped of all color. The cigarette he had been chewing on fell from his lips, bouncing off the asphalt with a pathetic spark. Inside the car, Pearl's groan broke the spell. It was a low, guttural sound of pure agony that seemed to vibrate through the chassis of the Bentley. "Pearl." Dylan whispered, his voice cracking. It wasn't the voice of a husband concerned for his wife, it was the voice of a man realizing his insurance policy wouldn't cover this. He didn't rush to help her. He didn't scream for a medic. He stumbled back. "No," he muttered, shaking his head, his eyes darting between me and the blood-soaked back seat. "No, this is a setup. You set up this." He pointed a shaking finger at me, blood rushing back into his face as his narcissism kicked into survival mode. "You kidnapped her. You crazy bitch, why is my wife in your car?" I stared at him, blood trickling into my left eye from a cut on my forehead. The sheer audacity was almost impressive. "She called me," I said, my voice ice cold. "Because you were at work spreading lies about me instead of answering your phone. She's in labor, you psychopath." The crowd, which had been recording the entire time, surged forward. They had heard the crash. They had heard the insults. And now, they saw the pregnant woman bleeding out in the back of a car destroyed by her own husband. "Get a medic." I screamed, ignoring the spinning in my head. I unbuckled my seatbelt and forced my door open. My legs felt like jelly, but adrenaline kept me upright. I reached the back door before Dylan did. I pulled it open. The metallic smell of blood hit me instantly. Pearl was pale, her eyes rolling back in her head. "Iris," she gasped, her hand gripping my wrist with bruising force. "The baby. I can't feel him moving." Dylan tried to shove past me. "Pearl. What the hell are you doing with this whore? Get out of the car." He grabbed her arm, the arm of his hemorrhaging wife, and yanked. Pearl screamed. That was it. The snap in my brain. I didn't think. I spun around and drove my fist squarely into Dylan's nose. There was a sickening crunch, and he stumbled back, tripping over his own feet and landing hard on the pavement. Don't you touch her. I roared, standing between him and the car like a lioness. You've done enough. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting louder. The police and ambulance were finally here. Dylan scrambled up, cupping his bleeding nose. Assault. You all saw that. She assaulted me. She kidnapped my wife and wrecked my car. But the crowd wasn't having it. A burly man in a construction vest stepped forward and shoved Dylan back down. Stay down, scumbag. We saw everything. The hospital waiting room was a sensory deprivation tank of white walls and the smell of antiseptic. I sat in a plastic chair, a bandage taped over my eyebrow. The police had taken my statement, and they had taken Dylan into custody, not for the crash, initially, but for public disturbance and attempted assault at the scene when he tried to fight the paramedics. Mr. Harrison, the forensics expert, sat next to me. He had followed the ambulance. The video is secured, Miss Iris, he said quietly. I also pulled the dashcam footage from your Bentley. It shows him cutting you off, the brake checking, and the impact. It's open and shut. It's not enough, I murmured, staring at the double doors of the surgery wing. He almost killed his own child. He needs to lose everything. He will, a deep voice boomed from the hallway. I looked up. Walking toward us was a man in a bespoke charcoal suit, flanked by 2 lawyers and a devastatingly serious aura. It was my father, Arthur Sterling, CEO of Sterling Corp., the company Dylan and I worked for. I hadn't wanted to involve him. I wanted to climb the ladder on my own merits, hence the pseudonym and the low-level position. But Dylan had forced my hand. Dad, I said, my voice finally trembling. Arthur Sterling didn't hug me, he wasn't that type. He placed a heavy hand on my shoulder and squeezed. Are you all right? I'm fine. But Pearl, his wife. We have the best specialists in the city in there, Dad said, his eyes darkening. As for Mr. Pierce, I've been briefed on his activities at the office. Slander. Harassment. Creating deep fakes on company time. He's not just fired, Iris. We are going to bury him. Just then, a doctor in blue scrubs emerged. We all stood up. Family of Pearl Pierce. Her husband is detained, I said. I'm her friend. The doctor looked grave. It was a placental abruption caused by the trauma of the impact. We had to perform an emergency C-section. My heart stopped. And the mother is stable. She's in recovery. The baby boy. The doctor sighed, wiping sweat from his brow. He's in the NICU. Oxygen deprivation. It's going to be a long few days, but he's a fighter. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Can I see her? Briefly. I walked into the recovery room. Pearl looked small, hooked up to monitors. Her face was bruised from hitting the seat in front of her. Her eyes fluttered open when I approached. Iris, she croaked. I'm here, Pearl. You're safe. The baby is alive. Tears leaked from the corners of her eyes. Dylan, where is he? Jail, I said softly. She closed her eyes. He said it was my fault. When he rammed us. I heard him screaming that I shouldn't have been in your car. Pearl, listen to me. I took her hand. He tried to kill us. He didn't know it was you, but he didn't care who it was. He is a monster. I know, she whispered, her voice trembling with a newfound resolve. I'm done, Iris. I'm done. The next morning, the atmosphere at Sterling Corp was electric. The video of the confrontation had gone viral. Millions of views. The title, Psycho Husband Rams Pregnant Wife in Jealous Rage. When I walked into the office, the silence was deafening. I wasn't wearing my usual business casual attire. I was wearing a suit that cost more than Dylan's annual salary, and I walked beside my father. We took the elevator to the general floor, Dylan's floor. The HR director was already there, clearing out Dylan's desk into a cardboard box. The murmuring staff went silent as Arthur Sterling clapped his hands. Attention, my father barked. Everyone stood up. As you all know, there was an incident yesterday involving an employee of this company, Dylan Pierce. He has been terminated effective immediately. He paused, looking around the room. I also understand that Mr. Pierce spent a great deal of time spreading rumors about one of your colleagues. Accusations of impropriety. Accusations of sleeping her way to the top. My father gestured to me. This is Iris Sterling. My daughter. And the future CEO of this company. Gasps rippled through the room. People dropped pens. The women who had snickered at Dylan's jokes looked ready to vomit. The men who had leered at the Bentley suddenly found their shoes very interesting. Iris started at the bottom to understand this business, Dad continued. She earned every promotion. And anyone, caught perpetuating the filth that Dylan Pierce started will join him in the unemployment line. Is that clear? Yes, sir, the room chorused. I stepped forward. Dylan created a hostile work environment. He used deep-fake technology to slander me. If anyone here helped him, or knew about it and said nothing, I suggest you come to HR immediately. If we find out later, we will sue you for complicity. 3 hands went up immediately. The rats were jumping ship. 2 weeks later, Dylan made bail. His parents put up their house to get him out. He didn't go to see his wife. He didn't go to the hospital to see his son, who was still in an incubator. He came for me. Not physically, he had a restraining order, but legally. I sat in the boardroom, staring at the legal notice. Dylan was suing me for reckless driving, kidnapping, and emotional distress. He claimed I had abducted his wife, causing him to panic and chase me, resulting in the accident. He was spinning a narrative that he was a worried husband trying to save his wife from a crazy coworker. He's delusional, I said, tossing the paper on the table. He's desperate, our lead counsel, Ms. Vane, replied calmly. He knows he's facing 5 to 10 years for vehicular assault and reckless endangerment. He needs to muddy the waters to get a plea deal. What about the divorce? Pearl filed yesterday. She's seeking full custody and a restraining order. Good. There is a complication, Ms. Vane noted. Dylan is going on a media tour. He's booked a spot on a podcast popular with, let's say, men's rights activists. He's going to paint you as the villain who destroyed his family. I smiled, a cold, sharp smile. Let him talk. The more he talks, the more rope he gives us. Did Mr. Harrison finish recovering the data from Dylan's phone? He did. Ms. Vane slid a USB drive across the table. It's worse than deep fakes, Iris. He was tracking Pearl. He had spyware on her phone. And he has chat logs with his friends bragging about how he was going to brake check you to teach you a lesson long before he knew Pearl was in the car. It proves premeditation. Perfect, I said. Let him do the podcast. We'll drop this during the live stream. The podcast was live. Dylan sat in a dimly lit studio, wearing a neck brace that the doctor said he didn't need. He looked haggard, playing the victim card to perfection. She's the CEO's daughter, Dylan told the host. She thinks she owns the world. She took my wife. She wouldn't pull over. I was just trying to get my wife back. And now they're trying to ruin me because I'm just a regular guy. The host nodded sympathetically. So the Bentley, the money, it's all Daddy's money. Exactly. And she used it to steal my family. I was watching from my office, my finger hovering over the send button. Do it, I said to the tech team. We didn't hack the podcast, that would be illegal. We simply released the press kit to every major news outlet and social media platform simultaneously, tagging the podcast's live feed. The headline, The Truth About Dylan Pierce, Audio Logs and Spyware Revealed. Within minutes, the comments section of the podcast began to shift. Wait, look at Twitter. He planned this weeks ago. He was tracking his wife. Holy crap, listen to the audio recording. He's laughing about running her off the road. The host looked down at his tablet, his face changing. He read a comment, then tapped on a link. Dylan, the host said, his tone shifting from sympathetic to wary. There's a recording circulating. It sounds like you. It's dated 2 days before the accident. Dylan froze. What? No, that's AI. They're faking it. The host played the audio through the studio speakers. Dylan's voice, clear and smug, yeah, she drives that Bentley like she's royalty. I'm gonna clip her one of these days. Just a nudge. Scare the bitch. Let's see how she handles a spin out. The silence in the studio was heavy. That's not me. Dylan screamed, standing up. That's fake. It was forensically verified by 3 independent agencies, the host read from the report. And, dude, you had spyware on your wife's phone. You knew she was at the hospital for a checkup, not kidnapped. Dylan ripped off his microphone. This is a setup. You're all in on it. He stormed out, live on camera. But the damage was done. The internet doesn't forgive, and it certainly doesn't forget. 6 months later. The courtroom was packed. Dylan looked smaller now. The swagger was gone. His parents had stopped coming after the second day of testimony when the photos of Pearl's injuries were shown. I took the stand first. I recounted the harassment, the rumors, the deep fake video, and the terror of that car ride. But the star witness wasn't me. It was Pearl. She walked in carrying a baby carrier. She looked tired, but strong. She sat in the witness box and looked Dylan in the eye for the first time since the crash. Mrs. Pierce, the prosecutor asked. Did you feel kidnapped by Iris Sterling? No, Pearl said firmly. I felt saved. My husband, my ex-husband, ignored my calls. Iris saved my life. And she saved his life. She gestured to the baby carrier. And what did Mr. Pierce say when he opened the door after the crash? Pearl took a deep breath. The room went silent. He didn't ask if I was okay. He didn't ask about the baby. He accused me of conspiring against him. He pulled my arm while I was bleeding. He cared more about his damaged bumper than his dying son. Dylan's lawyer tried to object, but it was weak. The jury was glaring at Dylan with open hostility. Then came the closing argument. My lawyer played the dashcam footage one last time. The aggressive swerving. The brake check. The impact. The scream. Dylan Pierce isn't a victim, the prosecutor said. He is a man who believes that his ego is worth more than human life. He tried to destroy a woman's reputation because he was jealous. When that didn't work, he used violence. He almost killed his wife and child, and to this day, he has shown zero remorse. The jury deliberated for less than an hour. Guilty. On all counts. Aggravated assault. Reckless endangerment. Defamation. Cyberstalking. The judge looked at Dylan over her glasses. Mr. Pierce, your behavior is some of the most abhorrent I have seen in my career. You have shown a complete lack of humanity. I am sentencing you to 12 years in state prison, without the possibility of parole for the first 8. Dylan's head dropped to the table. He sobbed, but nobody moved to comfort him. Epilogue, the road ahead. 3 years later. I parked the Bentley, a new one, though I kept the old hood ornament as a reminder, in front of a charming house in the suburbs. I walked up the path, carrying a brightly wrapped box. Pearl opened the door. She looked radiant. She had gone back to school for graphic design and was working freelance. Auntie Iris. A little toddler, Leo, came running at me. He had a small scar on his forehead, a faint reminder of his chaotic entry into the world, but otherwise, he was perfect. I picked him up. Hey, little man. Happy birthday. Pearl smiled, leaning against the doorframe. You spoil him. I'm the godmother. It's my job. We sat in the backyard, watching Leo play. Hear anything from him? I asked quietly. His mother called last week, Pearl said, sipping her iced tea. Said he's having a hard time inside. Apparently, the other inmates don't take kindly to men who hurt pregnant women. Karma, I said, taking a bite of cake. Iris, Pearl looked at me seriously. I never thanked you properly. Not really. You gave me my life back. I looked at her, then at Leo. You gave yourself your life back, Pearl. I just provided the getaway car. We laughed. It was a light, easy sound. Back at the office, things had changed. I was officially CEO now. The culture was different. We had a zero-tolerance policy for harassment. We sponsored shelters for domestic abuse survivors. Every now and then, I'd see a new employee driving a nice car, or wearing a nice watch. I'd see the look of envy on someone's face. And I'd step in, immediately. Because I learned that jealousy is a weed. If you don't pull it out by the root, it strangles everything around it. As I drove home that evening, the sun setting over the city, I thought of Dylan sitting in his cell, rotting in the darkness of his own making. He wanted to teach me a lesson. He did. He taught me that I am unbreakable. And he taught himself that in the fast lane of life, if you spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror at people passing you, you're eventually going to crash. I shifted gears, the engine roared, and I sped off into the open road. The future was bright, and the road was mine.